Hi, how's it going? This resident of Collingwood for YouTube, resident under slash of under slash Collingwood for BitChute, and I'm here to review a movie I just watched. It's called The Smiley Face Killers. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because it's based upon what, uh, now, depending on who you ask, because there are a group of detectives who do believe they exist and a group of detectives that don't believe they exist. It's based upon a group of serial killers who kidnap people and drown them and dump their bodies in water. Now, the movie does change some things, but for the most part, they do keep true to what the detectives who do believe this group exists does, other than one thing. And the one thing is, in the movie, the killers shoot people and they hit them over the head with hammers and murder them. Now, that hasn't been discussed amongst the potential real life smiley face killer group, if it does indeed exist. I'm hypothesizing here because this is what's tricky about this. Because look, I'm not here to tell you whether I believe in this shit or not. I'm just here to tell you there are people who do believe there is, and there are people who believe there isn't. So I'm trying to respect both sides of this. Um, at the same time of doing a fucking review. Insanity. Um, and that's what this movie is too. This movie is really intense. It's very well. I love the way it's shot and the way it's done. Now, again, they do follow a lot of the patterns that some of the detectives have shed light on. The smiley face logo is near the water. That was in the movie. The bodies being found in water or near it. That was in the movie. The abductions. That was in the movie. And now they do stalk their victims in this movie, and that was believed amongst the detectives who think this is legitimate. And in the movie, you meet this young man who is very troubled, and he's having problems, some sort of mental issue. Not They're not real clear about what the issue is exactly. It seems he's under a lot of stress and pressure. I would say it's because he's going to college and he's just under the strain of it. And him and his girlfriend argue. They have sex too, but they argue as well. And this guy's roommate is killed by one of the smiley face killers. Now, again, that's something the movie sort of takes liberty with, because that's something that hasn't been really revealed about the potential group. That they don't say they actually like hammer him over the head or kill him. Now, this movie did bring something, I think, that could be explored if you believe it, if you believe the smiley face killers exist, and I'll get into that. But first, I love the score of this movie. I love the intensity. I think it brought, whether you believe or not, I think it brought a very interesting story to life. Um, Now they gave a reason that the smiley face killers did this, and the reason is Galilee. Um, and Galilee, well, I'm not going to get into that, but that's the reason is Galilee. If you're familiar with Greek mythology, then you know who that is. If you're not, I'm not going to explain it because I don't have time and I didn't look a lot of it up. So, but I've heard the term. I'm somewhat familiar, but not completely, so I don't want to misquote. Um, Again, the reason the smiley face killers do this to the detectives who believe it's real hasn't really been revealed because they don't know why this is being done. But there are detectives who do believe this is a legit thing, and there are those who don't. That's sort of, I've said this is a tricky review, and that's where it's tricky because you have a movie that that yes, there have been people that have been going missing and found in water. That is true, but whether there's a group of killers called the smiley face killers is a subject of debate. And what I'll say to this is what this movie does do is feed into the potential of the smiley face killers. I think that's the one thing this film does heavily. Now, the one thing I think this film did do really well was right the guy who gets killed at the end. They showed something where the van door opened up and the guy tranquilized him. I do think that's a possibility. If the smiley face killers exist, it's a possibility that they could tranquilize their victims. Again, if it's real. Again, that's the tricky part about this review. Um, Look, if you really want more research on the smiley face killers, I will leave a link in the description box. I'm gonna go find a proper documentary. Huge shout out to the Myers fan 25, but because we were talking about this movie and stuff, and so I do think this movie is worth a watch. If you want to go watch this, go right ahead. I'll recommend it. It is a good watch. It's very intriguing and creepy. Um, so, do I think there are smiley face killers? I don't know, and I'm not going to give away my opinion on that. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm not a criminologist. I'm not a crime expert. I'm just a fan of horror films and films in general, so I'm just reviewing this movie. I will leave that up to the police experts to dispute, so to speak. Um, if you want to give your opinion on whether you think there's smiley face killers on my comment section, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but please be if you believe or don't believe, please be respectful. That's all I'll ask because this was a very I don't think I've ever seen a film so difficult to review, only because of the subject matter. Because again, you have two different sides of some people believe it's real, it's legit, that the group of killers is legit, and there are some that don't. And again, I'm respecting both sides. Now they do the one thing this film pointed out that the detectives who believe it's real is they target men, and that is a thing that they do that in this movie. Again, the movie's very creepy, good scored, well shot, beautifully directed. I can't say enough good things about the movie, but again, the subject matter is controversial and it's very tricky to review. Um, what do I give this movie? For what it is, despite both sides, 8 out of 10. I think it's really a good watch and it's really interesting. Um, Definitely go check it out. The Smiley Face Killers. It's on VOD, guys. All right. You guys have a great night and I'll see you tomorrow.